What is up, everyone? I'm coming on here for a couple of plays for today. The last video I recorded was actually noon today, which was Friday, and then I'm coming at you at midnight to like 1 a.m.-ish here on, I guess, Saturday morning, Friday night. So there's only been like 12 hours since the last video, and a lot of what we take on the VIP, especially during May and June, well, first of all, it's going to be Canadian football and it's going to be soccer, but really the majority of what we take is esports, and a lot of these esports, they happen overnight. So they happen at like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. And it's for a simple fact of they're played overseas. They're played in Korea and China and stuff. So a lot of these games are happening in the next couple of hours here. I didn't screenshot some of these, but this game, for example, is happening at like 4 a.m. So it's happening in like the next 4 hours. So we'll cross our fingers these guys go over. This game right here, I think is happening on Sunday morning. This one right here is happening in the first game of the World Cup. And then this game is happening, I believe, on Saturday morning at like 11 or something like that. And then this game is also happening at 11. So yeah, both of these games are happening at about 11 a.m. Central Time on Saturday morning. So we'll keep our fingers crossed, obviously. I will say, you know, since the video that I posted on Friday afternoon, really there's only been two things that have happened, and it's these two plays. Let me go ahead and bring them up to front and center here. But it's these two plays, right? So this play ended up happening. This game happened, right? It was Calgary versus Winnipeg, okay? So Calgary ends up, I don't know how the game went. One of these teams won by like a field goal. It doesn't really matter. But what I do know is it's very correlated together. So for example, I took both of these guys to go over together, and they end up both going under together. And it's for the simple reason that football is very correlated together. And this is what I talk about all football season. You're gonna, you know, if you click on any video that I've made from August to like January, right? I pretty much talk about this in every video, kind of like I talk about League of Legends correlation every video nowadays in the spring and summer months. But football is very, very correlated, and that's why I love betting on it, right? So for example, this guy throws for 230 yards, his line was 260, and his receiver only gets 2 catches, all right? So if this guy would have thrown for 350, 400 yards, he probably would have went over, or he would have went over, and his receiver probably would have went over as well with him, right? So if we make this a little bit smaller, and we look at the entry right next to him, which actually happened on Thursday night, you will see Tyler Snead and Davis Alexander, which was a game that happened again the day before, and these guys both went way over together again because this is much more passing oriented for these guys. We also had this one, which was right here on this channel Thursday, and we took Kenny Lawler to go under, and we took Gideon's to go over, and this did hit together. So again, we're just waiting on this feisty guy to hopefully go under 9 kills. Yesterday's play was about the game that's happening on Saturday night. Okay, so nothing has really happened since then, but I will say actually down here, this is the only thing to show, is Romer we took at under 8.5, and his line is now at 8, and then we took Jake Mayer at 269, and his line is now at 267.5. So not a huge bump whatsoever for Mayer, but Romer bumping down to 8, that might not seem like a lot, guys, but it is a lot in the grand scheme of things, because 0.5 differences can make a huge difference over the long term. And it just goes to show you that taking him at 8.5 was a really good call. I will say yesterday's video, I do feel like I explained the Romer pick really well. So if you want to learn how League of Legends works and you want to have kind of an educational little moment there, you can go ahead and watch yesterday's video and me explaining why I really liked Romer under 8.5 so much. I go over a lot in depth, right, about the odds that I find and the games that they're going to win and everything like that. And at the end of the day, we took him at 8.5. He bumps down to 8. That's an amazing play right there that we locked in the value for. Now, I haven't really showed the elephant in the room here, which was the other play that ended up happening overnight here. And it was Tevin Jones barely getting one more catch in this game. Absolutely heart-wrenching here. Another super, super close miss, guys. And again, these close misses, they're tough, but they're going to happen. They're going to happen, you know. It feels like, you know, maybe every day, sometimes we have these, maybe once a week we have these, but they do come along quite often where we miss by 0.5, and it's gut-wrenching. But again, it just goes to show you that these 0.5 differences that we can get when plays bump and stuff, they really do make a whole difference. Because for example, if we would have got this guy at 4, now his line was never at 4, but I'm just saying, for example, if his line was at 4 and he bumps down to 3.5, we would have hit it if we got it at 4, and everyone else would have missed if they got it at 3.5. So this is what I always try to find in League of Legends and stuff like this, and we're going to find this in football throughout the weeks as well, these little you know, things that are off and such. But very close miss here. He actually gets his last catch with about 1 minute 30 left in this game in the fourth quarter, and they were throwing the ball because they were losing the game. So they were losing the game. They were kind of in a little 2-minute drill. You know, we've all watched football. We all know how football works. When you're in a 2-minute drill, you're going to be throwing the ball a lot. When you're the team that's winning, you're not going to be throwing the ball as much, all right? So maybe if this team was winning the game in the fourth quarter, they might have ran the ball out and this guy wouldn't have got his last catch there. So very close. Again, this stuff's going to happen. You guys saw that we actually took the kind of over-under type of thing here with Lawler and Giddens just a couple of nights ago, and this did go ahead and cash for us. Now, the other things to go over here is just more bumps, right? Just because it wasn't very eventful, we only had a couple of things happen, and then we got to wait for the overnight games to see if like things hit and stuff, so we'll keep our fingers crossed. But I will say Life and Flexen, both of these guys have bumped up by 1 now, and then King, this guy right here, is also bumped up by 1, and then yeah, so, oh, and Knight also, I forgot to show this one here, but Knight, we took him over 7, and this one's actually happening at I believe like 4 a.m. tonight, and Knight, we took him over 17.5, and he is now bumped up to 18.5. So that is a 1.5 kill bump right there, which is absolutely incredible. Again, this is PrizePicks telling you right front and center that we got crazy value, and now they're taking it off the board and they're taking it away from everyone else. And they're saying, hey, you got way too good of a line at 17. We're going to take it off the board and we're going to bump him all the way up to 18.5 because his true value is 18.5. And again, I'm coming at you right now at like 1 a.m. and this game's happening in like 2 to 3 hours. Okay. Again, this is an older screenshot. That's why it says 15 hours. Okay. Also, guys, BETR. Every single discount cashed, right? Wimby cashed. There was a Paige Bucher's line that cashed, and then Jalen Brunson, this a couple nights ago, did go ahead and cash as well. Yeah, I think this was a couple nights ago, unless this was today. But anyway, 3 setups on BETR. Again, these are discounts. It's just base hits, boys. It's just base hits every single day on BETR. Do have a setup on Sleeper as well, and then do have a setup on Underdog Fantasy. Okay, so I also will say yesterday's video I gave out Spurs money line. That was an absolute gut wrencher of a loss right there. I really thought the Spurs would win, to be honest. I feel like a lot of people were on the Spurs. Maybe I should have took that as a red flag, but I mean, they had their chances, man. I have no idea what Wimby was doing in that game in that like last 9 seconds or whatever. I mean, I'll just say that he's a little bit inexperienced or whatever, but that pass to Castle at the end was very, very questionable. I have no idea what he was thinking. But yeah, it was a tough loss. I mean, it was a loss for the Spurs. Like I went over yesterday, we cashed the Lynx money, cashed the Lynx spread, which was like 2 days ago on my channel, and there's another one too. I think it was maybe a tennis bet or something that goes ahead and hits on this channel. So again, a lot of bets flying around at all times, so it's kind of hard for me to keep track of things. But as you guys know, I track absolutely everything on Pickett, so you guys can pause the video and see how we've done on Pickett, guys. Again, I highly recommend BETR and NOVIG. Okay, I also recommend Sleeper. Sleeper we've been underperforming, but again, it's going to catch up. Eventually, Sleeper's going to catch up, guys. Sleeper posts 2 to 3 discounts a day. BETR posts 2 to 3 discounts a day, and all I do, it is so simple. It's just get onto BETR and Sleeper every single day. Sometimes I do it around lunchtime. Sometimes I do it around 5 or 6 p.m. and I just post the discounts every day. I take the discounts every single day. It really doesn't even matter what you take. Just take the discounts every day, and you will see that we're up 50 units this year on BETR. Okay, that's like $500, and I've really only started taking the BETR entries since like April. Okay, so since April, the beginning of April, I've been up 500 units. And actually, at the end of April, I went to Japan for 2 weeks, so I wasn't even able to take BETR entries, okay? So we actually did up more than that if I didn't go to Japan, but very fun when I did go to Japan, but that's out of the scope of this video. Guys, we're very profitable long-term. As I always talk about, there's going to be ups and downs in this game. Right now, we kind of are in a weird weekend. A lot of times the weekends, there's a lot of stuff flying around. We do have a lot of setups, but we're kind of waiting for World Cup. World Cup's going to be huge. We got CFL happening right now, which is also cool. There's about 3 to 4 games a week, so it's not like a huge volume thing. There's only like 8 to 10 teams in the CFL, which is Canadian football, and then obviously eSports, which is a huge part of this channel, and I love talking about eSports. So let's get into the first pick of the day, which is going to be on NOVIG. So NOVIG, a huge thing going on right now, which is a $1 code with my code detective, $1 to get into the VIP with NOVIG, through NOVIG right here, okay? So NOVIG is legal in like 41, 42 states right here. You'll see all the states right here. And if your state is in the blue, you can sign up for NOVIG. If you have not signed up yet, you can use my code detective in all caps, and you will get a 90% off promo. So what this means is that you could put $1 in and you'll get a free $10 on NOVIG. You could put $5 in, you'll get a free $50 on NOVIG, all right? So really simple stuff. all you have to do to get 1 month free of the VIP is do $1 and you'll get a free $10 in a NOVIG. Again, I would recommend, if you're my friend or I'm just recommending you to make the most of this possible, to spend the $5 and get $50, right? Because obviously 5 to get 50 is going to be better than 1 to get 10. But if you really want the cheapest VIP possible, it can literally be $1 today with NOVIG, all right? And then again, I recommend you do it, and then you can get your friends, your family on it, whatever. It's $1. And however other many people you get on it, I'll obviously add 1 month free of the VIP to your subscription, okay? But again, if you're going to do that, text me first just so I can make sure that, everything is tracked. I'm getting you guys the right links and everything. The worst case scenario is that you're using the wrong code or the worst link or something, because then I won't be able to, offer you guys the free month there, all right? So NOVIG's been doing very well. Here's an example of the tennis model we've been taking on NOVIG. I think I have some other things. This is an old screenshot, but we've been also just crushing it on NOVIG. This is a lot of the personal bets that I've been taking. I've been personally making thousands of dollars a month on NOVIG, and I've been doing this for the past couple of months now. I might make a full video breaking this down. And then we just the picks that I send out, guys, are part of the system that I've been generating that amount of money, okay? And with the VIP, you're going to get probably about 2 to 3 NOVIG plays a day. I actually just sent one out at about midnight, which was a tennis model play, okay? So if you are up, you got that. I normally don't try to send out picks that late. It is a little bit late here. I did watch the Spurs game with some friends and stuff, so I was just home a little bit late and stuff because it was a Friday night. So hopefully you guys kind of understand that. All right, let's get into today's play. So today's play is going to be with more CFL. I've been loving the CFL. Again, we almost cashed one today, like literally 1 more minute, and he throws an interception or just something random happens in that game. He gets sacked, whatever, and we do cash a 4-man because of CFL. And again, we have a setup on the CFL, and then we have a setup from Thursday's video for the CFL as well. So CFL, there's only been 2 games in the CFL so far this season. The season literally started on Thursday, and we already have 2 setups and a very, very close miss by 0.5. So with that being said, we haven't cashed a full CFL entry yet, but it's looking very good. And as I told you guys, I know how to bet on football, guys, right? It doesn't matter whether it's a CFL, it doesn't matter whether it's Division III, college, or whether you're betting on the Super Bowl. I know football, and I bet on football all the time. I think about football all the time. Our best day in the VIP ever, we went up about 50 to 55 units, and it was the 2024 Super Bowl between the Eagles and the Chiefs. That was an absolute Hall of Fame day. I actually have a video on this channel. If you go look at that, I think it was like February 8th, 2024, and it's the Super Bowl day, and we went up literally 50 units in that day, again, because I just called the Super Bowl extremely well. It doesn't really matter though, that was just one day. Absolutely crush all season long in football, and it doesn't matter, again, whether it's college, NFL, CFL, guys. Football is football. And one form of correlation that you can use, first of all, my favorite form of correlation is going to be quarterback receiver combination. So quarterbacks over, receivers over, or quarterbacks under, receivers under. So for example, if a quarterback throws for 400 yards, the receiver's going to get 100 plus yards. If the quarterback throws for 100 yards, the receivers probably only get like 20 yards. But this is another form of correlation that you can use, and it's actually receiver 1, receiver 2 correlation. So if you think about all the great receiver combos in the NFL, such as CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, or Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, or maybe like Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams or something like that. For example, if Amon-Ra St. Brown gets 100 yards, Jameson Williams might only get 20 yards. If Jameson Williams gets 100 yards, Amon-Ra St. Brown might only get like 50 yards, right? So if one guy's going way over, the other guy's likely to go way under, just because they kind of cannibalize each other, if that makes sense, right? So it's unlikely that both of these guys are going to get 10 receptions in the game. That would just not make sense. What's normally going to happen is a guy's going to get 5, 6, 7 receptions, and then the second receiver is going to get maybe 3 to 4 receptions, okay? So I'm taking Austin Mack, the number 1 receiver, to go under receptions, and I'm taking Keon Julian Grant. I've heard him be called KJG. I don't know if that's his nickname, but I saw that on the internet somewhere. KJG, let's call him that. And I'm going to take him over receptions at 3.5 receptions right there. Again, very, very, very similar to what we just took a couple nights ago, and we have a setup for with Kenny Lawler and Giddens Jr., which is a different guy, okay? Some of these guys' names are very long. But again, we took number 2 receiver to go over and the number one receiver to go under, okay? So just because someone's the number one receiver does not mean that they're automatically gonna get all the volume and stuff, right? Sometimes these guys are gonna favor their second receiver because, for example, maybe the number one receiver is guarded by the number one cornerback, so he's getting shut down a little bit or whatever it is, okay? So very correlated together. This is what's called negative correlation in statistics. So I'm trying to think of an example of negative correlation, but it's pretty much the fact that if one guy's thing is going up, the other guy's thing is going down. If the other guy's thing is going up, the other guy's thing is going to go down, all right? So it's negatively correlated, kind of like that, right? It's like a lever that you're pulling where something opposite is happening. In quarterback receiver combinations or League of Legends or whatever it is, normally these things are either going to rise together or fall together, and that's something that's called positively correlated. Again, if you want to get a statistics lesson, it's probably not the right channel to go to, but there are a lot better channels doing that out there that you can look up, positive versus negative correlation. This is pretty much the concepts we're using. All right, and then this is a really good play here with Morgan, Josito, and Quid, okay? So the fact of the matter is, and I meant to pull this up, and I'm very sorry about it, but if you go to PrizePicks and you look up these guys' 3 individual lines and you add them up together, I believe this guy's line is, I might butcher this, but it's 6.5. This guy's line is 9.5 right now, and then Quid's line is 10.5. And I'm about 98% sure that this is these guys' lines right now, if my memory stands correct. But pretty much the simple fact of the matter is, guys, is if you add these numbers up, 6.5 plus 9.5 plus 10.5, very, very simple stuff, these guys' lines add up to 26.5, okay? So in a very simple manner, PrizePicks is setting these guys' lines as a combination, 1, 2, 3 combination, and they're setting these guys' lines at the combination of 26.5. So it really does not make sense why these guys' line would be 27.5, right? It's very simple, right? You have all 3 of these guys' lines set separately. If you add them all up, it's at 26.5, but right now we're able to get a combo prop right now at 27.5, okay? So that's one thing that I really like there. It just simply is 1 kill too high, right? The math doesn't add up. The second thing that I really like, and this is really the bread and butter, the meat and potatoes, or whatever you want to call it, of why I like this, is because I do think FlyQuest wins 2 out of 3 of these games, okay? So these guys are on Team Liquid. I'll put a TL right here because this is their team, Team Liquid, and then they're facing FlyQuest, all right? So these are very even teams. They're North American teams. North American teams typically have slower paced games, okay? North American teams are not as good at League of Legends as Eastern teams, the Asian teams like Korea, like China. Korean teams normally win the World Cup and everything like that they do have because they're the best in the world at League of Legends. North American teams, not as good, and they play a lot slower paced because they're just not as good at the game, if that kind of makes sense, right? So slower paced game means less kills and it's just like a less bloody game. I don't really talk about that much because it's not that important, but I do think that FlyQuest, the team that they're facing, is going to win 2 games, which means that Team Liquid is only going to win 1 game. So I think that Team Liquid goes 1-2, okay? And the reason why I think that, guys, is if you look at the past matchups that they've played, FlyQuest wins 2 out of 3 of the games. FlyQuest here wins 2 out of 3 of the games. If you go back to this date, which was April 5th, so this is April 28th, they go and FlyQuest wins 2 games. April 14th, FlyQuest wins 2 games. If you go back to April 5th, this is actually the one time Team Liquid wins 2 games. Again, these are very even teams, so these things can happen, right? And then if you go back to last year, which was, I think this is August 17th, you would see that FlyQuest actually 3-0s them, okay? So again, this is last year's data. This is like, you know, what is that? It'd be like 9 months ago or whatever it is. But again, FlyQuest is a very good team, and for some reason, they just have Team Liquid's number. And again, if you go back to April of last year, so this is a whole year gap now. But if you go back to April last year, you will see that FlyQuest has actually beat this team 1-0 as well. So there's only one time out of the past 5 matchups they have had where Team Liquid actually gets favored and then ends up winning the series, okay? So again, FlyQuest really has this team's number, and I think FlyQuest goes ahead and wins this series and goes ahead and wins 2 out of the 3 games, causing Team Liquid to go under, okay? This is going to be the video, guys. I appreciate you guys for sticking around watching, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video.